Lord. Well, guys, sorry to tell you that probably this giant cluster of trying to watch us is not going to be worth it, but we will do our best here. Hey, everybody, it's episode 81 of the Electric Fan Cave on electricfeast.com. I'm Kristen Latterell. Our very dear Corgan Vaughn is out sick today. She's got a migraine and along with a myriad of other things, I'm sure. So joining me tonight is going to be Lauren Evans, our very own Cumberbatch correspondent. So she is going to sit down and chat with me through some of these pop culture things we've got. And we do have some fun things to chat about tonight. We have got some new trailers. There's a new Finding Dory trailer, which is coming out. We're talking about the flop, major flop, which I think almost now is an understatement, of Jem and the Holograms. First picks from Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them. Celebrity baby news, UFO sightings, our good friend Benedict getting a little crazy on folks. Lauren's going to take us back to her adolescence, which, trust me, was a very scary time. We're going to do a little Alanis Morissette, talking about how she still doesn't quite know what ironic means, and discuss the fact that we finally know who Jack the Ripper is, maybe, according to this one random dude. So settle in, folks, and bear with us as we clearly navigate these tricky waters of the technology and the world, because it's hard and we struggle. Anyway, hi, Lauren.
Hi, Kristen.
Thanks so much for doing this with it. I guess me. I appreciate that. Otherwise, it was going to be me talking to myself, which no one wants. So
it can also still be hysterical. Let's be.
Yeah, well, it could be. Or, I mean, I don't know. Let's see. My coworkers would probably disagree, because when I talk to myself at work, it's usually expletive-laced. So.
Okay.
Anyway, how are you?
I'm talking to Jesus. I am lovely.
Yeah?
I am drinking hot cocoa with peppermint from my amazing Sasha and Malia. Well, it's not just the two of them. That sounds creepy.
That would be super weird.
Family mug that also has Sasha and Malia, but also has President Obama and the First Lady, because they're awesome.
Oh my gosh. Did you see that President Obama got his own individual Facebook page this week?
Yes, I was so proud of him. He made it to 2006.
Did you see his little video about his backyard, which I thought was just so cute?
Yes, because our president is adorable.
He is. He's such a dad. It's very dad-like. And at first, I thought it would be really have been really funny if instead they did, they're trying to be all artsy, just showing his hands or being blurry. I'm like, okay. Instead of doing that, if they had filmed it the wrong way on an iPhone, so it was all vertical bars.
He was going crazy. Going, no, why is it not? Why?
Yeah.
What is that?
It's you hear Joe Biden in the background, I don't know if this is working. I can't seem to get the bars to go. You know what I mean? It's Joe. How amazing. And then you hear Malia be like, oh my gosh, Uncle Joe, you have to turn the phone. You're holding it the wrong way. Just think that would have been.
He accidentally turns on the cam, the face forward.
Yeah, the selfie camera, and it's like, Why
is my face there?
Obama's like, come on, Joe, this is your one job. This is your one job as vice president, to step it up.
Oh, that would be amazing. I really wish that had happened.
I know. It's okay.
I just wrote a fan fiction right there.
Yeah, it is. That's my fan fiction. I'm going to go rewrite that right now and post it on his Facebook page.
No, that's creepy.
I know. I get a call from the Secret Service. They're like, you wrote this weird fan fiction about President Obama. And I'm like, oh, yeah. So cool.
Real person fan fiction crosses lines. You don't go there.
True. Very true. But anyway, so that was cool. And then I don't know if did you see this yesterday? The Google's Doodle yesterday?
For Hedy Lamarr?
Yes.
It was gorgeous.
It was awesome. It was gorgeous. And I was watching it, was so entranced by it because I didn't know who she was. And so I'm watching the video and I'm like, okay, so I'm trying to piece together. I'm like, okay, so obviously she's this beautiful actress. And but also, is she a chemist? What did she make? Because I was kind of confused as to what it was she made. So I'm like, and it was almost like a movie. So what's gonna happen next? And then it ended. I'm like, no, that can't be the whole story.
Because they ended at the good part. Because if you go to her Wikipedia page, you can read the rest of her life. It kind of went crappy.
Yeah, that's true. And she didn't get any money from her inventions. Although posthumously, she did get a recognition from some science board for basically starting wireless technology, basically. If you don't know who she is, she was I guess we should explain to people who didn't watch it. If you didn't see the Google Doodle, you should first of all Google it. That's funny. Google yesterday's Google Doodle, which is, I don't know.
Which was
why
very meta. We just went Inception on you.
We did. What? Oh, tell me, if only you were here.
For Inception.
Yeah. If you Google yesterday's Google Doodle, which was this woman named Hedy Lamarr, who was an Austrian actress in the 30s and 40s, and then she ended up, well, technically in the 30s, and then so she had a very interesting life. So I want you guys to read about it. I won't tell you the whole thing, but they had this really beautiful little mini, you know, sometimes when they do like the mini videos, and they did this one, and it was just gorgeous looking, and it kind of gives you this thing. So she was this actress who made all these movies and actually was in some fairly successful movies, like I said, although I hadn't heard of her. And then she also was like a scientist on the side. Her and her neighbor came up with this idea of, you know, kind of this wireless technology, which was super cool. And I don't know, just
we supposed to block like I forget what it was, the transmission between with missiles. It was supposed to be really easy for the Axis to jam them, and it was a way to avoid the jamming. So
it was basically like raspberry jamming
we were
the
like,
Axis powers.
Hey, but no thanks.
Yeah. So anyway, it was like a jamming jammer. I don't know. That didn't make any sense. But anyway, it was cool. You guys should check it out. We'll link to it. Also read up, and it's cool sometimes too when you don't know the people. I love Google Doodles because majority of the time I don't know who they are. I'm like, oh, fun, who's this? And then you learn something new. So you should definitely check those out, you guys. They're fun. Anyway, trailer news. Lauren, did you watch the Finding Dory trailer?
Oh my gosh. Of course I watched it, and I was sad instantaneously because she's like alone and asleep, and I'm like, oh no, don't tell me that she's all alone. And so I was having all of these feelings, and then it panned to, you know, Nemo and his dad. I was like, oh, thank God.
Yeah.
So like it was a whole roller coaster of emotions there. I was sad and then happy and then really sad again because what's happening, and then hilarious because, you know, she
story. Yeah. Well, I was excited because at first, like when I kept hearing about the trailer, or at least the name of it being called Finding Dory, I'm like, so does Dory get lost? Because like half of the fun was her and, oh my gosh, I can't remember what Nemo's dad's name is.
Phil.
That's not it, is it?
No, it's not that.
What is his name? Oh my God.
All right, we're going to put this in. I've got the weirdest search history.
You look it up. You look it up.
Marlin.
There we go. Which is funny because he's a clownfish. Anyway, so Marlin, most of my favorite part about Finding Nemo is like the banter between Marlin and Dory, obviously. Right. And so I'm like, wait, she's gonna be all by herself, but she's not. So the gist of this movie, it seems to be, is that Dory has some kind of memory or a dream. She's, you know, it looks like she can dream, and she's remembering something from her past, and so she's going off to find her family or something.
Can we talk about how sleep swimming is a thing?
Yeah, that is scary.
And that she sleep swims directly into something and just keeps swimming into it.
Running into it? Yeah.
I'm just going to keep doing this because this is freaking me out.
Yeah, stop doing that. Stop that. Yeah, right? Which is weird because I feel like we're always worried about sleepwalking and falling into a pool. But if you're already in the pool, like...
Right. Like, you worry about sleep swimming into a shark's mouth? Because I feel like this is a really dangerous state of being for a fish. Like,
right? Or into an eel?
Right? Or, into a net. Like, it's dangerous. The ocean is scary and dangerous, even for fish. Maybe especially for fish.
Yes, it is. Especially for little fish like Dory. So,
sweet little
anyway, I'm excited. I think it looks cute and fun. And my friend had some kind of IMDb alert that was like, oh, Finding Dory trailer featuring, and it had all these people in it that they weren't even in the trailer, because the only people in the trailer were the people from Finding Nemo, but it was like Idris Elba and all these people. I'm like, wait, Idris Elba's going to be in Finding Dory, which I thought was super cool because obviously I love him with all of my heart, and I'm trying to figure out how you start petitions for him to be the next James Bond. I don't know how we do that, but
I would watch James Bond. I've never seen James Bond. I would actually watch it.
Wait, I'm sorry. Can we stop for a second? You've never seen any of them?
No, not a single one.
What about like a Sean Connery one? Those are a classic.
Nope.
I don't even know what to
Yeah, her screen got frozen. She's just in shock.
I can't even comprehend that. Like, why?
I'm not into spies.
Oh my God, what is wrong with you and Corey? She also hates spies.
Like, my great aunt was one. I'm related to a spy.
Like a real spy?
A real spy. She worked for the CIA. When she died, we found tons of pictures with her with, like, people that she probably shouldn't have had her picture taken with.
What does that mean? Are you allowed to tell me, or is this? Are you going to be murdered? Are we going to get murdered for talking about this?
No, I think not. I've told this story before. I've never told it live on Google Hangout, but like, I forget exactly who she was pictured with, but it was like people it was during the 60s and the 70s when she was working for the CIA, and she was all over she was in North Korea, she was in all these places. She was in Russia, she was in...
Doing what?
I don't know!
Oh! Lauren, this is a ridiculous. I can't even believe you're telling me this story and you don't even have all the information. Do you have a code name? Do you know what it was?
It's classified. My dad swore she was an assassin. I think that's a fantasy, but like
What is her name? Was her name?
Patricia Evans.
Right.
Pat.
So also not her real name, clearly. What's her real name, Lauren?
That was totally her real name.
No
and according
way.
to my grandmother, she was a real jerk. My grandmother did not like her.
Wait, isn't this her daughter?
No,
her sister.
My great aunt, not my aunt, great aunt. So her sister-in-law is my grandfather's sister.
Oh my gosh, and she was married? Oh my gosh,
she was not married. She was not married ever. She was an old maid her whole life.
How is she?
Because she's my grandfather's sister, so they have the same last name.
God, this story is confusing.
Lineages. Name passes down.
I wasn't listening. I was not listening because I don't think that's her real name, as I previously stated. You don't know that. You cannot possibly know that about her.
Except for my grandfather called her, like, she was my Aunt Pat. Like,
allegedly, because that was her cover, because he was also a spy. How deep does this go, Lauren?
Okay,
oh my gosh.
An engineer and a carpenter. He was the opposite of a spy, okay?
That's what they want you to think. That's the whole point of being a spy. He was probably a sleeper agent for the KGB in the 60s. And
what is the matter with you? My uncle or my grandfather was the sweetest man in the whole world. Gentle.
Obviously you don't watch spy movies because that's what they want you to think. See? You know what that probably was? It probably wasn't even your aunt that was a spy. It was your grandfather, but she acted like a bitch to keep his cover. And he was like, I'm so sweet and innocent, but also I'm crazy and I murder people.
My grandmother disliked my aunt so much that she withheld cookies from her. Like, that's my grandmother's realm of, you are a terrible person. I'm not giving you cookies.
I was going to say something right there, but I didn't.
I don't want to know what you were going to say right there.
I'm just, you know what?
I think we should leave that. We should let that lie.
I'm just saying.
I don't know what.
Your grandmother withheld her cookies. That is quite a harsh judgment on certain people. Anyway, oh man.
So my spy family aside, no, I have not seen any of the James Bond movies, and I don't know if I ever will. But if Idris Elba's in them, I would consider it.
Well, you should watch them, mainly because they're so fun and they have gadgets and gizmos aplenty. And who's its and what's its galore. Thingamabobs, they've got 20.
Yeah, you're thinking of Disney.
Believe it. No, I'm pretty sure I'm thinking of James Bond. But I love spy movies. Obviously, they are my jam. I have not seen Spectre yet, so, and if people are trying, also, if you're trying to Q&A me right now, I could barely even get this broadcast started, so don't even think I'm going to be able to figure out how to find those. Super sorry about that. But I'm sure your guys' questions are really legit, and you have great feedback. Baby steps.
Wait, I don't have any questions.
What?
Never mind. I'm trying to figure something out.
Anyway, what was I saying? What were we
I have no.
Being spies?
Spies. We're talking about spies, being spies. I'm related to spies. I might be
Spectre. I haven't watched Spectre yet. I still need to see it. I don't know when that's going to happen. My life is insane right now. But hopefully one of these days I will get to go and see it because I want to. But anyway, so you should see spy movies. But that's not the point. We were talking about Finding Dory, which got super out of control.
Right. How did we get to my spy family?
Oh, we were talking about your spy family and the fact that you don't even know your family because obviously your grandfather was also a spy. So let's just be real. Okay. In addition to Finding Dory, so that was the Finding Dory trailer. You guys probably remember this, and no, Lauren, I don't know where you stand on Jem and the Holograms. Were you a
I
big
am
fan
all
of the Holograms?
about Jem and the Holograms.
Okay.
I had a Jem doll when I was growing up. She was magnificent, and I gave her more tattoos than she came with.
Okay, so there we go. So if you guys remember a few weeks ago, or a month, I don't even know when this was, when the first trailer came out for the movie Jem and the Holograms, I actually think it was our female friendship, or at least one time, because I remember Alex Blakey, I think, was talking with us. And her and Corey were very upset about this trailer, unless I'm making up that Alex wasn't there. Anyway, the fact was that Corey, at least, was very upset about the trailer. I was indifferent because I didn't watch Jem and the Holograms, and so I didn't care. I thought the movie looked kind of lame, but I also wasn't like comparing it to my childhood dreams. So did you see? Had you seen the trailer, Lauren?
I avoided the trailer.
Okay.
Because I did not want my childhood to be torn apart, as it so often is by Hollywood, because they don't know how to make new things. They just know how to ruin old things.
It's so true. It's so true. And this was a case in point, apparently. So people were really upset because you watched the trailer and it literally had legit was nothing like.
So the hologram is like this thing that her dead father leaves her, and it's like these crazy earrings that turn on a hologram and change the whole way she looks. So she has like this super secret identity, and she's trying to hide the hologram machine from other people, and she's trying to grapple with her secret identity and being a part of this band. And like they did like in the movie, apparently, I don't know, all I did was read the Wikipedia page and the articles about it because that's all I could handle. They don't do any of the hologram like changing of her.
No.
Okay,
no.
So what's the point? Because that was like the heart of the show. Like,
yeah,
the show was crazy intense. Like, it was kind of adult, like all the drama that was going on in her little world, and like all of these adopted kids living in the house with her. Like, they did not do Jem justice, and I don't like this. This makes me weep.
Yeah. Well, and people agreed with you because apparently it flopped. Gave a new definition almost to the word flop. So one of these veteran people who, you know, look at the intakes from movies, and one of these just a big Hollywood, you know, whatever budget people, I don't know who they are. Experts, they keep calling them, like, experts in what? In knowing what movies are going to do well? Anyway, point is that this movie performed probably the worst they think in history of movies for wide release. So it was wide released 2 weeks ago. After the first week, it was only making about $160 per screen. In addition, which, like, if you compare that to Steve Jobs' movie, which was limited release, was making $1,000 something per screen. Okay, so that's the difference here in the money. And it flopped so bad that not only did they pull it, are they pulling it after the second week? They stopped reporting the numbers.
Oh, see, maybe they will learn from their mistakes and stop trying to do horrible things to my childhood.
Apparently, I doubt they will. And the article I was reading made the point, because I think it's Universal that released it, and like they've had such a monster year because they had Furious 7, they had Jurassic World, which were two of the highest grossing films of the year. So this like $5 million oopsie from Jem and the Holograms, that's the budget of this movie was $5 million. This $5 million that they're losing, they're kind of like, nah, it's like, we'll just yank it, cut our losses, we'll be done, you know? Which I thought was
talking about Jem.
I mean, they're not even cutting it down to limited release. It's like, they're not just like pulling it from a lot of theaters. They're like, we're yanking it from everybody, and we're just going to be like, we're done with this. So
sorry.
Right? And I thought that was, I mean, like I said, I didn't really care. I'm like, that is just so, but honestly, I just felt kind of sad because I was looking at the cast list, and one of the girls was in this Disney movie called Lemonade Mouth, which is like so amazing, and I love it so much.
I'm judging so hard right now.
Okay, we'll get to that later when I can judge you about your ridiculousness. I'm gonna remember that you said that, by the way. And so she was in it, and I was like, I always loved her in that movie, and so it was kind of sad that she was in this, and then it did so terribly. And I kind of feel bad for like the young crew that's in it, these like young women. I'm like, oh,
they got their voices. Like, listening to the songs that they did on the album, like, they kill it. They've got some serious talent.
So that was the thing, is that apparently the soundtrack is really great.
Yeah, I wouldn't go quite that far. Like, it's So there's a couple of songs that are really good. A lot of it's really contrived. And even the sad mellowy coffee shop one that should have been all up my alley was terrible.
Smell. Oh gosh, it's typical.
I did, and for this show, I listened to every single song on that album.
That's impressive.
And I know there are two that are good.
I didn't even listen to it, but
yeah, there are two that are solid.
The point is that it sucked, and everyone thought it did, and apparently, I think mainly because they didn't even really advertise. I honestly didn't even know it was already out. I remember the trailer from whenever that happened, but
I feel like
there was not a whole lot of advertising. I think they knew I think there's so much anger with that first trailer when people were like, "Oh, what's happening?"
I would not mind one of the posters though, because those posters you're evocative of my childhood. You got the punk hair, the glam rock, I loved it. I loved Jem. There was so much potential there. Jem was awesome.
It happens, you know? They just don't always nail it, unfortunately.
And speaking of, I guess, not nailing it or potentially nailing it, or let's just stop saying nailing it.
Yeah, probably. Sean's going to have a field day. Sorry. Keep going.
The Fantastic Beasts.
Okay.
Because I'm not sure how I feel about these constant forays back into Harry Potter land, you know?
Well, here's the thing about Fantastic Beasts, and I'll tell you, we've had this discussion before. I don't want her to keep going back to Harry Potter. Like, Harry Potter is a complete story. It's done. We're like, cool. But the thing is that there is a whole universe that she's made. And so what I think is cool about this movie, and I haven't read the book. I know Melanie, our friend Melanie.
The book doesn't have a plot. The book is just, like explanations of magical creatures. It's
exactly. And so they've kind of made it into this story of how, based on like what they sort of pull from Harry Potter on like the mention of, what's his name? Newt, right? Based on the mention of him, and then based on this separate book that she wrote, they've kind of pulled together to make this adventure story, which I think will be really cool because it'll be in that set. I mean, but it's also like before Harry's even born. I mean, this is like before Voldemort. This is like everything.
You get the American version of the Wizarding World, which, let's be fair, Americans, we've always wanted to know, like, where's the Wizarding World? Is it only in England? Like, clearly it's not. But like, I'm just saying, there were no magical schools representing America.
Totally. I just think this will be a really fun movie. And I thought the pictures looked cool. I mean, it's not like they're showing you a whole lot, but
right.
I don't know. I frankly am stoked.
The ministry is referred to as like the Magical Congress of the United States. I did nerd research on it because
I haven't done too much on it. I'm kind of waiting for a trailer, but I thought the first pictures of it looked cool. The costumes are great. I think Eddie Redmayne's going to be awesome. Like, he can't be bad,
I agree, but I also want to point out how unbelievably white New York City appears to be. I'm just saying. Like, all those pictures.
Well.
So we'll see.
We'll see. But anyway, so we're excited. I think it'll be fun to be able to see that and kind of see what they end up taking with that. So it'll be cool. So that kind of does it for movie news. We do have some fun celebrity news, which will be fun to kind of talk about. If you guys were in the news at all this week, they were weird. We've been talking about X-Files coming up, and so now we've got these UFO sightings again that are cropping up. No pun intended. With these like UFO looking clouds, but apparently our good old buddy Nick Jonas is like a for real believer in UFOs. Which I think is hilarious.
He wants to believe.
He doesn't want to. He does. He is 100% on Mulder's side. I am.
He believes the truth is out there. We, on the other hand, are a little bit more on the Scully side, where we could be slapped upside the head with an alien and say these are not real.
Yeah. So I just thought it was funny because he's like, "Oh no, I totally had an experience. Like, I was like 15 and I was in my backyard looking at the stars with my friend, and we both totally saw one." Now he's like 100% on board. I'm like, cool, Nick Jonas. Like, you're so crazy, but I love you so much. I don't even care.
I don't love him even a little bit. So I think he's just crazy.
You do, because you love Fly With Me.
That's not fair.
Boom!
It's not fair. That's not fair.
Nailed it.
When I moved across country, Kristen made me a CD to listen to, and she snuck that song in there.
I didn't sneak it.
And now I know all the words to Fly With Me, and I am angry and will be perpetually angry about this.
I don't know why. It's an excellent song.
It's sugar bubblegum.
You love it.
It's nonsense.
Excuse me. It is not nonsense. It is very deep.
No, it's not.
It's totally deep.
No.
100%.
We have different definitions of depth, where mine is deep and yours is this deep.
I'm sorry. Are you calling me shallow right now?
Just with your views on pop music. I'm just saying.
I'm pretty sure I know how to kick people. If I knew how to kick you off of this, I would and continue the rest of this by myself. But I can barely figure out how to turn it on, so we know that's not going to happen.
I'd apologize if well, no, I do. I apologize for insinuating that you're shallow. I will, however, say that song is shallow.
You're shallow.
All
right. In other fun news, The Rock, who we have agreed is an adorable, pretty much has nailed, I don't know why we keep using this term, social media, and is really on point with his Instagram. Posted a super adorable announcement of his girlfriend being pregnant with a little baby girl, which is so cute. And he's just adorable. We just love him. Remember when he saved the puppies and then his one puppy died anyway, which was really sad, obviously. But
puppy death.
I mean, we all know how much I love The Rock, but the picture is just really cute. It's just very like fun. It reminds me a little bit.
Hand covers like half of her belly. That's bananas.
Well, first of all, she can't be that far along if they just found out it's a girl. I mean, it's not like she's about to have the baby, right?
She looked like at least 6 months.
So I feel like she's going. She's moving through. And also, have you seen him? The guy's a beast. So anyway, you guys, the great one is having a little girl. And I think it's good for him. I think it gives him a little bit of a softer side. I mean, he already has a 14-year-old daughter from his previous marriage. For those of you who know that, like I do, because I'm weird and I love The Rock. But anyway, so congratulations, Dwayne. So exciting. We're stoked. I mean, she's going to be gorgeous, I'm sure, because your girlfriend also is like a model. I don't know what her deal is, but she's beautiful. So good job for her and her like adorable baby bump of like, you can totally see she's pregnant. I'm going to be one of those pregnant ladies who's like, oh, you're like, you know, or they're like going to think I'm 9 months. I'm like, I'm only 4, but I look like I'm about to have twins. She, on the other hand, is an adorable pregnant woman. So congratulations on that. Super fun. Very cute. And then we will now move into Lauren's, we'll say, expertise area. So this week, Benedict Cumberbatch has been in the news for a couple of different reasons, but he did receive an award, apparently. We're not quite sure what it is that he got.
I'm sure what it is that he got.
Well, okay.
Okay, so he was awarded the CBE, which is the Commander of the Most Excellent Order of the British Empire. I don't know how they got rid of all the other letters and only kept C, B, and E from that giant title. And so what that is, that's one level below knighthood. So what he could have gotten was Knight Commander, which sounds like Wing Commander. And he would have been, you know, Sir Benedict Cumberbatch, but he's awfully young for that. So he was awarded it for services to the performing arts and to charity because Benedict Cumberbatch is a huge humanitarian. And he does bike rides and raises money for the Prince's Trust, which helps disadvantaged youth. He's a part of the Children's Defense Fund, the Elton John AIDS Foundation. He raises money for the Motor Neuron Disease Association, which is, for example, one of the diseases that Stephen Hawking has. He played Stephen Hawking on the BBC and was amazing. And St. Mungo's Broadway, which I didn't know St. Mungo's was a thing outside of Harry Potter.
I was like, hey, that's a Harry Potter thing.
Yeah, so apparently it's actually a British thing too. Like it's a Broadway thing. So I'm amused that in England, St. Mungo's is something to do with theater, whereas in Harry Potter, it's for crazy.
It's a mental institution. Okay.
I guess, you know, theater, mental institution, theater, mental.
Tomato,
I
tomato.
don't know. I was in theater in high school and it was a little mental. So
Yeah, that's true.
yeah. So
that's interesting because he's been getting flack this week for speaking up against the Syrian refugee crisis and saying that that not only, but I mean, specifically Britain should be doing more, obviously, because he's from Great Britain, which I think is interesting because if this award is technically about, because people were saying, oh, he, shouldn't have been talking about it because he used this award as kind of a platform. Platform makes it sound bad, but he used it as like a way to bring awareness to what was going on. And people were giving him flack for that, and which I thought was weird because I'm like, but he's getting an award for humanitarianism, so shouldn't he be talking about humanitarian? Is it because he was being critical? Is that why?
He's getting flack in part because he did a 3-month run of Hamlet, playing Hamlet at the Barbican Theater. Huge deal. From what I've seen of it, he was truly amazing, and at the end of every show, he gave a speech to the audience. And he read a poem, and that talks about that you don't put your kid on a boat into water unless land is dangerous. Basically, you don't send kids away from their home unless land is full of sharks. Mm-hmm. And so he gives this impassioned speech at the end of every single show, urging theater goers to support the Save the Children Foundation. And he got flack for that. Especially for his final show where he actually dropped the F-bomb in regards to politicians. And so he has definitely gotten some flack for using the stage, although he was confronted with that. So he actually was not the one who brought it up. I think, based on the videos I saw, the interviews after the awards, he didn't talk, when he was getting his CBE, he wasn't talking about the Syrian refugee crisis. He wasn't like hijacking things in front of the Queen and whatever. Right. From all the pictures you're seeing, he's being totally respectful and calm. And you're like, I know that on the inside, he's this nerdy, giant, giddy bundle of joy, but he's totally, actor face.
Being very British.
Being very British. He's turned on all the British works to be super dignified as he, because on the inside he's like, oh my god, it's Queen. Oh my god, it's Queen. Oh my god.
It's like the opposite of how we would be because we are not that. So
no, I think I would too. I think that I would probably have a similar reaction.
If you met Benedict Cumberbatch, that's what I'm talking about.
No, I will never meet Benedict Cumberbatch because I would make the biggest embarrassing scene in the world, and I would never live it down. So if I ever see Benedict Cumberbatch on the streets, I'm going to turn and run the other direction.
No, I hope I'm there so I can be like,
that's also the plan if I ever meet Martin Freeman, because I cannot be a coherent adult human being, and I will not allow myself to have an interaction with them where their only knowledge of me is being a blabbering, gibbering idiot. So I will just turn and run the other direction. But anyway, so he got he wasn't going to give, he said he wasn't going to give any interviews afterwards. And then he did anyway, because Benedict Cumberbatch talks, especially when people are, pushing at him.
It's kind of like, real quick, and you'll actually appreciate this. Corey never gets this when I talk about West Wing. It's when, remember, okay, in The Shadow of the Gunman Part 1, or I think actually it's in Part 2, where Mrs. Landingham is talking to someone, and I forget who it is, and she's like, oh, he always says he's not going to do the rope line, but the president can never refuse a rope line. And I'm like, exactly. Oh, you get shot. It's like, you got to watch it. Anyways, okay, I feel like that's
now I'm afraid of Benedict Cumberbatch getting shot, so thanks for that.
Well, that wasn't the point of the story. The point of the story was that he can never refuse a rope line.
Benedict Cumberbatch, and I want to protect him in a safe bubble.
Anyway, keep going.
So he kind of got accosted by media, and he doesn't have any patience whatsoever, kind of famously, for media. And so he sort of let them have it. They're like, so how do you feel about the flack you're getting? He's like, I don't care. He basically said, if I am going to have my personal life put out in front of everybody for all to see, I'm going to yield that for good. So why don't you stop bugging me and think about the last person who asked you for money that you ignored? So he basically slammed him and was like, hey, there's more important things in this world, like dying children. Right. So I also want to plug the charity just a little bit. There is a single that there's a beautiful song. It's called I totally had this written down somewhere. I take notes. because I'm that person. And now I can't find it. But anyway, it's a single. I think it's called Shoot. No, it's not called Shoot. I'm sorry.
This is going really well. The point is this: we're gonna link to both of these things because Lauren did send them to me. So
because I'm having issues with words.
We're gonna link to the charity that Benedict has been talking about, the organization he's been talking about at the end of the Hamlet plays and the things that's going to be helping Syrian refugees. We're going to link to that so you can take a look at it if you're interested in helping and donating, which if you guys have seen any of the stories or heard the stories or seen any of the pictures coming out of it, is crisis, I think, is almost an understatement. I wish there was a bigger word to describe not only the things that these people are fleeing from, but then what's happening to them when they end up getting away, so they are it's just this massive problem. And I feel like it's one of those ones where like nobody quite knows what to do. And it's like, anyway, it's a giant cluster. And so he's got an organization, obviously, that's helping at least the children of this.
It's a really well-established organization. It's been around for ages, and right now they're focusing their efforts on the Syrian refugees. So,
right. And isn't it primarily the children? Or no?
It's the children. So it's primarily, it is primarily about saving children. Like a lot of children are orphaned as they're coming across. A lot of children are dying, and so it's trying to make that stop happening.
Right. So we'll link to that, and we'll link to both things so that you guys can check those out, and hopefully, hopefully get involved in some of those things. So hey, Ben, I know you don't watch our show, but I'm going to throw this out there anyway. We appreciate you actually using your celebrity for good. Yeah, I think some people sometimes take it for granted and use it for things like self-promotion and that type of thing, and so. I kind of wish we didn't give people flack for being like, hey, like all this attention is on me. Like, why wouldn't I say, right? Why wouldn't I want to, shine light on something? And if you really care, if you really want to know everything about me, like this is something I'm passionate about. Why are you picking and choosing? Which I think is interesting. It's like, we only want to know the mundane things or the things that like have to do with acting or whatever.
Or your personal life. What's the name of your child? When do we see?
Right. And so, I personally can't even imagine
this.
Yeah. So, and I can't imagine being someone whose life is like that, being constantly torn apart. And so I think he's trying to find a little bit of a silver lining and like, you know what, if this is the way that my life has to be, if, everybody wants to know who I'm getting married to and what's the name of my kid and all these things, and the least I can do with that then is kind of channel it into helping these children who are actually suffering and are, going through this horrific traumatic ordeal. And so I think it's awesome, Benedict. So hats off to you. Congratulations on this award. It seems rad. We'll just wait another 20, 30 years until you're old enough to become a knight, because I'm sure that's like.
And then we'll call you Sir Benedict, and we'll be really excited about that.
Obviously.
Because I'm still going to be a fangirl at 60.
Oh my gosh, I hope so.
I don't know why I just said that. That was really weird. But we know it's going to be true. I'm going to be that weird person that's like at fan convention.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, that's awkward.
I'm okay with that. I think it shows young at heart. Anyway, so Benedict, well played.
On from Benedict, because
but if we want to go from like something that's very altruistic and like lovely, Benedict Cumberbatch getting this award, we should definitely move on to this really bizarre thing that's happening.
Okay, fair enough.
Actually, currently. So, Shia LaBeouf, I think we have a love-hate relationship with him. He's such an interesting human, and I don't quite, it's like half the time I think he's so interesting and half the time I think he's a complete idiot, and so I don't know what to think with him. He is currently watching all of his own movies and live broadcasting it. So you can watch Shia LaBeouf watching Shia LaBeouf.
Right, and he's oddly expressionless. I've popped in and out a few times, and he just looks blank. Is he dead inside?
I don't know, but Corey was saying that earlier. She got it.
Dead inside?
I'm sorry?
His movies make us dead inside? Like, is that what happened?
It depends. If he's watching Holes, I don't know how that could possibly be, because that movie is a gem. But Corey was saying she was watching it earlier, and he was like super into it and was laughing. Really? I thought she had said. Maybe that's a lie, but
the one that I watched, he was just like this.
Yeah, I was watching a little bit of it. He was kind of eating some popcorn, and he was kind of like, but Anyway, so if you're in New York and you want to catch Shia LaBeouf watching Shia LaBeouf, you can do that. There's no sound on the video that he's live broadcasting, and so it's a little bit confusing because you're not sure what movie he's watching.
It actually says it in the bottom of the thing, I think.
Okay, because I scrolled down and I didn't, and maybe that was the name of the movie and I just didn't know what it was. I'd never heard of it, so I was like, "What is the name of this?"
There was a name here I didn't recognize either.
So anyway, so if you guys want to watch that, Shia LaBeouf doing other weird Shia LaBeouf things as we kind of expect from him now. He's just so quirky and weird. He's just a weird guy.
We're watching because it's weird and we like weird and we continue to support that.
Yeah. So anyway, if you want to do that, you can. And if you got nothing else to do, and if you're in New York, you can actually go and free admission, actually sit with Shia LaBeouf and watch Shia LaBeouf movies, which would be also super weird. So I don't know. I don't even know where you came up with this idea. Like, why? Most actors are like, oh, I don't even like, when they go to their premieres, they like hang out in the back. They don't even watch the movie, you know?
Right.
And Shia LaBeouf's like, no. I'm going to do a marathon of all of my movies. And I'm like,
what happens when he gets up to pee? Is there like a pause? Like, do you see him get up from his seat and come back? Like, he's doing this for 3 days.
I don't know. You'd have to actually watch it constantly enough to know, and I'm not going to do that.
I will not give him much of my time. My life is important for...
I don't know. That's just who he is. He does things like this. So, okay.
Yeah,
do that.
You do
that. I don't even know what to say about that, but and then moving on, this is really what Lauren has really come here to talk about. So here's the thing. I think we mentioned this before, you guys. Lauren and I go way back, like to junior high.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like the awkward stage for us both.
Awkward stages. We were so awkward, and I did know this about Lauren because I didn't actually listen to a whole lot of Alanis Morissette, but I honestly associate Alanis Morissette with you, Lauren.
As you
like
should.
I do.
Because Alanis Morissette is my Patronus.
I actually associate her with you. And I don't know anything about her other than she dated Ryan Reynolds for a little bit, which was weird. And she has that one album.
Well, and she also dated Dave Coulier.
Oh, yeah. Dave Coulier, that's right. And she wrote, well, isn't it Jagged Little Pill like about him?
It's like basically about their breakup, and it's really like that. I remember when that came out that I lost a little respect for her, but at the same time, like I feel like she and I go for similar type of dudes, like kind of awkward, kind of quirky, you know.
Well, except for Ryan Reynolds, who's not awkward but is hot as hell.
Right, it's true. Because then I have hope. So, because right now most of my guys are Dave Coulier-esque. So,
oof. Yeah, we'll work on that. But anyway, so the point is this: James Corden, who I know we've mentioned before because I've been on his show. I've gone to a couple tapings. Our friend Cam used to work actually for James Corden. He has been really doing a great job with the Late Late Show. It's been fun, and he's doing all these great things. So he has Alanis Morissette on, and they both kind of wear 90s era Alanis Morissette hats with like her weird braids. And they redid the lyrics.
Yeah.
Was the song called Ironic? Was that actually, or isn't it ironic?
It's just called Ironic.
Okay.
And it's ironically not irony at all.
Yeah. Which is hilarious. And it continues to not be ironic. The things they're saying, I was giggling through the whole, they basically just updated it to be like modern thing. So it's like swiping left on your soulmate was one of the lines from the song, which was really funny. But what did you think of it?
It's brilliant. I was cracking up the whole way.
Yeah.
It's like you're on first class on a Southwest.
And you look around at all the seats.
You realize every seat is the same. And then my favorite line of it all is the one where it says, it's singing ironic, but there's no ironies.
Yeah.
So like she owns it, right? Like she owns it. Ironic has but it's brilliant. It's swiping left on your soulmate. It's adding someone on Facebook and then finding out they're racist.
Oh, that one was good too. I really liked that one.
It's very, very clever. If you need
it's the one where it's like the Snapchat that you didn't save or something. I forget what that one was, but I don't have Snapchat, so I don't really know that one. But I know the
fun. It's brilliant. And and I appreciated that throwback. That is actually my least favorite song on the album. She had this amazing hidden track too that if you listen, like, remember hidden tracks?
I hate hidden tracks.
And you had to wait for like
they're
10
often
minutes.
the best song on the album.
And then this perfect, amazing thing comes out, and it's this sort of creepy song that she's singing where she's like broken into her ex-lover's house and finding notes that his new girlfriend has left her, and she's like climbing into his bed, getting in the bathtub, like putting on his robe. Like, it's really creepy, but it's also haunting and beautiful, and it's
you would like that song. Also, hidden tracks are the worst, and I'll tell you why.
You're just wrong.
They're often your favorite song, and you have to wait. It's like, give me a hidden track that's like 15 seconds after the last song ended. Not 8
then it's
minutes.
not hidden. You don't have to work for it.
You do.
Play the hidden track, because if you are really dedicated, you will wait through the 10 minutes of silence until it starts.
Or guess what? Just add it on to the end. Just make it another song. Like, why does it have to be hidden?
You can just buy the freaking songs now, Kristen. The era of the hidden track is over.
I know. I'm just remembering how much I hated them back in the day. Is the point of this story.
I love them. They were like little secret Easter eggs, little presents.
But they weren't, because everybody knew they were there. So not only were they not hidden because people knew they existed, but you still had to wait the freaking 12 minutes for the song to come on.
You know what? It was an expression of my love for Alanis. Okay, so So, just whatever.
Whatever. We'll agree to disagree on this one, but hidden tracks are the worst, and I'm glad they're gone.
Speaking of the 90s.
Speaking of the 90s. What's speaking of the 90s? I don't know. Oh, I saw that. Okay, that was rude. In addition to things that should be left hidden, I don't know. Anyway, some Australian dude thinks he figured out who Jack the Ripper was. Although, reading the story, I was like, why are we giving this any... I mean, his evidence is the fact that this guy was a poet, was maybe kind of a doctor, and knew a prostitute in Whitechapel. Whitechapel. Like, that's his evidence. I'm like, you're making up his entire life story. You have no idea.
All these people that are coming up with, even like the murder mystery writer Sue Grafton. I actually read that book because I love the story of Jack the Ripper, because I'm a freak like that. And nobody has good theories. Everyone's just got a bunch of weird, crazy ones. I'm reading a novel right now where Sherlock Holmes and John Watson are solving the story of the Ripper because it was at the same time period. But, you know, one's fiction.
It's just all conjecture. I mean, I'm telling you, Bones would not approve of these people's theories that they come up with.
They're terrible.
They basically just find someone who was kind of maybe crazy-ish, a little bit, sort of weird, living in London at the time that it happened. Was like, oh, this dude totally did it.
Well, I think it's funny that most of the most recent people that are accused of this have been a failed poet, a failed artist. You know, like, what is it? They just think that if you're like, do they think that everyone who fails at art history or art or whatever becomes a mass killer? Like, is it Hitler syndrome? Is it like, what is it? They think that it's the artists that are always behind it. But think of the artists just put the art on the paper. You know, the pain goes on the paper. It doesn't go into killing people.
Right? But also think about this. The guy that came up with the theory is an artist himself. He's a literature professor or something. And like, so you're not even like a scientist or some kind of historian or cop.
Right.
Like,
no.
You're a dude that likes literature, and so based on this one random dude's poems, you're convinced he's Jack the Ripper. I'm like, come on.
Yeah. So, whatever. We need to get over the fact that we're never going to know, and that's okay.
We just got to live in the mystery, you guys. Lauren, you posted that great quote that was, some things aren't meant to be fixed. They're meant to be carried. And this is one of those things that obviously is not as serious as that quote really meant to be. But I was like, that's a really kind of like intense. I know it does not really apply, but it kind of does in a way of like, we're never going to figure this out.
We just carry the murders with us.
As much DNA testing as we're going to do on a handkerchief that may or may not have belonged to some, Austrian immigrant who could have been the kill. This whole shenanigans.
I'm just saying, in my novel, Sherlock Holmes is having trouble with it, okay?
Right? So, and if Sherlock Holmes is having trouble with it, literature professor from Australia, you ain't solved it. I don't know. I don't want to be a skeptic, but I kind of
leave it to these guys.
You know? Oh, God. Okay, put those away.
They're awesome. When I got home, they were waiting for me because I ordered them from England like 4 months ago. And that's how long it takes for things to come. And so I'm really happy that I have them. And my absolute favorite is Mycroft because
he's got Mycroft your favorite?
Just this one because he's got the umbrella and he's got the Mycroft.
Kind of jauntily like, look at me, I'm Mycroft.
Right. He's in a completely different pose than like any other of these characters because he's freaking Mycroft. He is the British government, so he can do whatever the hell he wants. Yes. Say that? I just dropped Mycroft again. I keep doing that.
That's okay. He'll get over it because he's not real. So. You guys, that's it. That's all we have for today. So thanks so much. Yes, thanks so much for bearing with our technical difficulties. I take full responsibility. I don't know how to use the internet. I'm a Luddite. I kind of wish we could just go back to like the Pony Express and life would be good.
So the thing is, she actually does wish that, guys. Like she's not kidding. She really wants that to be a thing.
Wait, I'm sorry. I just had can I just share something with you? Because I feel like I shared it with someone earlier and they didn't really appreciate it.
Okay.
I kind of want to share it with you.
Okay.
So this year, Thanksgiving is on November 26th.
Okay.
First Thanksgiving that we celebrated as a nation, like a national kind of holiday, was November 26th, 1863. And Abraham Lincoln kind of decreed it as like a national day of Thanksgiving for the Union Army because of... It's a quiz. Do you know why?
Oh, God. Was that when he, Emancipation Proclamation?
Nope, not quite.
History. I'm really
more famous speech. Really famous speech.
The Gettysburg Address.
Right, and so it's kind of this national day of thanks for the Union Army for winning and this kind of turning, watershed moment in the Civil War where they won this Battle of Gettysburg. So previously, George Washington had done like, hey, we'll do like National Thanksgiving, but it was kind of more like sporadic and presidents were like, we're not going to do it like all the time. But Lincoln kind of was like, no, every fourth Thursday, we're going to have this big thankful, Thanksgiving Day. And that was kind of when it got to be a little bit more consistent. And anyway, so I just thought that was interesting because it's like, hey, November 26th. And this year it's on November 26th. And if you guys are wondering, next Thursday, the 19th, will actually be the 152nd anniversary of the delivery of the Gettysburg Address. So be sure to read that. One of the more famous
I wonder how many
American
people out there were actually wondering that.
Probably nobody. But I was sharing this fact with someone earlier today, and they just didn't appreciate it. And
I feel like I don't appreciate it as much as you want me to either.
I feel like no one does. Maybe I should have done this by myself, I guess is the point.
Oh, burn. Oh.
I'm going to stop telling this fact to people because I'm legit the only person that cares. And then today in my meeting, okay, so I follow the U.S. Interior on Instagram because... Of course you do. because
U.S. Interior has an Instagram.
Okay.
U.S. Interior was on social media before President Obama.
They post these really beautiful pictures of national parks, which I love, which is fine.
Leslie Knope.
So today they posted this picture of the Badlands and was like, hey, happy birthday, the Badlands. 37 years ago, you became a national park, blah, 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 whatever. So today I sit down in a meeting and like randomly, one of my coworkers has a mug from the Badlands. What are the chances? He's drinking out of it. He sets it down, and my boss is like, starting the meeting. She has started talking. We're moving. We have begun the meeting, and I go, oh, the Badlands. Today is our 37th, or whatever. I don't even remember what year it was. I think it's 37th year. I was like, today's the 37th birthday of the Badlands. And everyone's like, what? And I'm like, today the Badlands became a national park. And everyone's like, why do you know that? Also, stop talking. And I'm like, Okay, I just thought I would share that. It was random because I just saw it and he has a Badlands mug. Like, what are the chances? I feel like this was kismet. I needed to share it with you.
I feel like you're starting to understand how I feel when I fan over things.
I know.
And
no one cares. And no one cares.
Quiet and to put away my dolls. But
you're right. I'm sorry.
Yeah. See, you should feel sorry because
it's okay. Well, no one gets us. That's the problem. We should just hang out together because no one understands how weird we are.
Before we go, I do want to point out the one thing is, so the Sherlock special, the air date has been announced.
Give us the American premiere.
It is showing in America and England at the same time. Finally. Hooray. Well, I mean, there's going to be like an hour's difference, you know, because they're ahead of us and stuff. But January 1st, The Abominable Bride is going to be the show.
I heard a rumor you could see it in theaters. Is that true?
Yes, you can also see it in theaters. It's going to be showing in theaters on January 5th and 6th, which, this is my nerdery, January 6th is Sherlock Holmes' birthday. It's also Epiphany, but I care more about Sherlock Holmes' birthday.
Epiphany, whatever.
So, and I think it's like his 200 and something. I can't remember right now.
Is it going to be on PBS in America? Is that where
PBS in America? I'm not sure of the time yet, but it'll be all over the place. It's going to be a full-length special, so it's going to be an hour and a half. It's set in 1895. You should absolutely watch the trailer. Look for the extended trailer because you've got Martin Freeman as John Watson being an ultimate sassmaster. With this line, yes, with this fantastic line, he says, "I'm an army doctor, which means I can break every bone in your body while naming them." I'm so excited.
Can I just make a real quick thing? Corey did say that the U.S. Interior Instagram is the best, so.
Okay, well, it's all right. You're both Leslie Knope. That's all I have to say. That's all I just wanted
to point that out.
But you can continue with your nerding out. Because she's awesome.
So, of course she is.
So I highly recommend watching the special. It's going to be amazing. You get to see them set, like they're dressed like Jeremy Brett, who played Sherlock Holmes in the 80s with, it was called the Granada series of Holmes. It's this really iconic vision of Holmes with the slicked back hair and the pointed nose. And you get a little bit different. It's totally canon Sherlock Holmes. It's not quite the, you know, what word can I use to describe him that's not swearing? It's not the callous jerk face. Really.
Interesting.
You actually get more of that from Watson, which is funny.
Okay.
And you get to see Lestrade's amazing mutton chops. They go down to
Lestrade. Have I talked about my crush on Lestrade?
Everyone has a crush on Lestrade.
Haven't I?
Like, Mark Gatiss is openly in love. Mark Gatiss, who plays Mycroft and also writes the show, is openly in love with Lestrade. With Rupert.
Like, so handsome.
Yeah, he is.
Like,
yeah, he is.
I can't.
And he's adorable. And he basically confirmed a romance or a fission between Lestrade and Molly.
But the point is this. I love Lestrade. And I really like, I love him.
I do too. And there's going to be lots of Lestrade. I know he's got mutton chops. Like amazing, furry, like out to here, down to here mutton chops. He
like General Burnside mutton chops.
Like General Burnside. Like it's.
Hey, did you get that reference?
I did get that reference.
Yes.
What is it? The thing of Captain America where he says, "I understood that reference." Yeah. So anyway, watch the special. It's going to be amazing. The Abominable Bride. Yeah, it's going to be
awesome.
Cool. Yeah, and all the characters are in it. Just, you know, like 1895 version.
I'm very excited. I am very excited.
Me too.
People, thanks for joining us. Lauren, you have not disappointed with your Benedict Cumberbatch knowledge. It has gone really, you know, far and wide here.
I try.
So thank you for coming, and I do appreciate your figurines. Don't think I don't. but we make fun of each
I know
other.
you
That's
don't,
how
but
you
it's
and
okay. I own it.
that is how you and I roll. So
That is true. That is how
it's
we roll.
basically just the way that
And
it
that's
is.
actually why I showed them. Audience, I don't care what you think of my little pop dolls.
Also, and you know what I really loved about this episode is that you are 100% in your childhood bedroom right now.
Yes, I am. That's the funny thing. It's 100%
like
in my childhood bedroom.
How many hours did you listen to Alanis Morissette in this bedroom?
So many with this horrendous wallpaper.
Also, why is there so many paint swatches on the wall? There's like 12 different colors of paint. What's going on?
There was a time where I was going to paint this room, and those are the trials and the colors that I wanted gray, and so there's like multiple shades of gray. Not 50.
Oh my god. Gray? Yeah. Don't be boring.
I like it. It's dreary in a melancholic. I'm boring.
You are. You are melancholic. That is the word I would use to describe.
Yeah, melancholy is like happy for.
The color is fitting, but I'm an anti-gray and I'm anti-tan on your walls.
Okay. Well, I'm anti this disgusting border, and I have been since we moved to this house when I was a kid, and yet it's never gone. But I can't open my window, which is behind the screen, and you can't see it, because my brother popped the screen out when we were teenagers and lost it. So now,
and you got another one?
Nope. I used it to sneak in and out of the house.
Of course you did.
Yeah. So yeah, I am in my childhood bedroom because I just moved back to California, and I am helping my mom pack up this house. So yeah.
Yeah. Well, welcome back.
Thank you. I like being back on this coast.
The best coast is the West Coast. No offense to those of you who don't live here, but also offense because we're better. Just kidding. Oh gosh. Okay. Anyway, sorry. So thank you guys for joining us. Corey, we hope you feel better. Yeah, we missed you tonight. Although it was really fun. It's so true. Obviously, I couldn't even figure out how to live broadcast this. This has been a disaster / awesome. It's been super fun. Lauren, thank you again for coming and doing this with me. I really appreciate it.
Thank you for letting me up and learn on live recordings, because that's always awesome. Always awesome.
So everybody, as per usual, you can find us in all the normal places: the YouTube, Stitcher, SoundCloud, iTunes. Make sure you rate and review us on iTunes so we know how you feel about us. Be sure to check out the blog on electricfeast.com. That's where you can find all of our backlog of episodes also as well. So you can see that. And we'll link to all the things that we talked about today, the trailers, way to help out Syrian refugees, pictures of The Rock and his adorable baby announcement, and other epic, obviously earth-shattering news. So again, thank you for coming. I'm Kristen Latterell.
And I'm Lauren Evans.
And we will see you later. Take it easy, kids.